Hello again, everybody. My name is Becca, aka the Serenadian, host of the Ding Ding podcast, and I am here today at the My Brother's Keeper event with the theme A Father's Day Conversation. And we are going to chat with a few of the guests here to give us a bit of a perspective on what they think about fathers and fatherhood in general in the Black community.
So my name is Chioma Uzor. I'm 22 years old. I'm a fourth year university student. I
And
feel like fatherhood is specifically important to the Black community. A lot of us don't have very consistent fathers. A lot of us a lot of us lose our fathers, and I feel like personally, somebody who has a good relationship with their dad, I feel like it's a very essential way to grow and to become a little bit more integrated into your community, especially when it comes to culture. My dad was the one who taught me the most about my culture, and he is still teaching me now, and he is always there to educate and to lecture. He's the main one who lectures in my house, and so I pretty much owe it all to him to where I am now, and so I feel like my dad is basically the who I look for when I think of fatherhood, because he's really presented the way fathers should garner their children and lead them towards success.
kudos to your dad.
Thank you.
And I think one new thing that I hear you bring to this conversation is consistency. That fatherhood is not just a thing of when I choose to be a father or when I want to be a father, but you have to be consistent through the process in raising those children.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your perspective, Jama.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Dermain Whitaker. I'm a proud father of two, husband of one, beautiful wife. I'm originally from Jamaica. I've been an immigrant here in Canada for 10 years, and proudly so. My background is in the education field, so I taught in high school back in Jamaica. Currently, I work in financial services. Yeah, so a lot of different things come to mind, and some mixed emotions as well. But I definitely believe there is a lot of room for improvement in terms of fatherhood in the Black community. What we see now today quite pervasively is a high absenteeism of fathers in a lot of the homes, and pretty much banking on my own set of experiences. Many times fathers are present, but they are still absent, and what that means is they really don't have a really good grasp of what it is to be a really good father.
That's deep. Do you think that comes from sort of like the way that they were raised? Does it have anything to do with the system here in the diaspora? Like, what do you think that's?
A lot of it is historical trauma. It stems from the misconception that men should not have to express emotions, or they should never be seen as soft and comely. They always have to be rough and overpowering and almost like an authoritarian in nature. And so what I've experienced is that type of fatherhood creates a lot of resentment within the home and within the kids. And so while these fathers, they work hard, and a lot of times they really have no ill intent, but we see that there is really there's a huge knowledge gap in their understanding as to what that really means. And so, for me, a big part of really moving forward is really entertaining, your children and your family within that particular discussion. What would you want your dad to be like? Or, how can daddy be better? Right? And so, I think we need to encourage that type of feedback.
Absolutely.
Yes, in order to be better as fathers.
Absolutely. I think that really does align with the conversation I had earlier with a daughter who said she does believe that the relationship has to be flexible and change as they grow.
Yes.
And the focus has to be more on building relationship
That's
rather than
right.
just discipline. Wonderful. Thank
That's
you
right.
so much for bringing that perspective
It's a
to
pleasure.
this conversation.
My name is Ahmed Noor. I work, or I'm the CEO of Partners for Humanity Foundation, community-based organization that mainly deals with community research,
Aha.
trying to find out what we do, how our people are coping with the situations, and what is the way forward for them. More so the black immigrants. Right. When first of all, the black community is very diverse.
Absolutely.
Diversity is across the board, even within groups. Take, for example, the case of Cape. We have over 44 tribes, these tribal groupings, each with its own cultural, social, and community setups as well. So you will find that, well, parents, basically the fathers, have a defined role when it comes to an African father. Did you say black? I don't know about blacks outside Africa, but the blacks in Africa, it is very clear the father is the figurehead, is the head of the family. And the mother takes care of everything. Right? The children, everything. When Africans come over here, there is what is called role reversal.
Role reversal.
Yes.
Okay.
That is why we have so many of our ladies who are now single mothers.
Confused?
Single mothers.
Single mothers.
I didn't say confused. I said single mothers.
Okay. Okay.
Most of them. This is because the roles reversed. The fathers who were the figureheads of the home, on coming here, they lost the direction. They are no longer in charge. So what happens to the kids? The children will have to live with a mother who is going to take all roles as the head of the household. So how does that look at the father in this part of the world? The father is not even a figurehead.
Not in this part of the world.
In most cases.
In most cases.
And I'm not generalizing. So what is the role of the father? The father's role here is kind of limited in that if you are not participating in the everyday life of the family, then you won't have much clout, much impact on the family unit.
What I hear you say then is that it can look different in the diaspora versus in our different countries.
Correct,
in Africa.
correct.
Ella Posa?
Of father is very important. Even growing up, I think it's very important to see the impact that the father has on the children, especially sons. They need that validation from their dad and even girls
Right.
as well, right? So I think having the father in a home is very important. And I'm excited to be here and to listen in on the conversation that you have going on. And yeah, I look forward to seeing our Black community transform by this conversation because it's very important. You know?
Absolutely. And I think there's room for that transformation for sure. And I'm glad that you mentioned girls as well. So I'm a daddy's girl, and I always say I'm a proud daddy's girl.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Father.
Yes, my name is Gerard Mutabazi.
Wonderful. From Zimbabwe?
From Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Aha.
Fatherhood in the Black community, the diaspora, specifically in Canada, and I think it's still needing to find that time to share culture, to share the language from back home, to tell stories of back home, just finding that time really, to tell stories of where we come from and of who we are, because most of us in the diaspora don't know much of who we are.
True that. So I hear you say then that the fathers are like carriers of the stories of our identity, and they need to pass that on to the children, especially that are born here.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because for many young people, whether we came here as young or we're born here, many of us feels more connected to the diaspora world and disconnected or little bit of roots from back home.
Yeah.
So passing that knowledge or is telling, that history in the children here, it's very important,
Beautiful.
And, yeah.
Beautiful.
So
To
connecting
avoid,
through the stories.
yeah, and avoid the identity confusion in the future.
Yes,
Hey?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Very good one.
We're gonna have lost generations.
Oh, and we don't want that. We do
Nah,
not want
exactly.
that. Well, thank you very much for your time.
My name is Pia. I am a photographer, videographer here in Edmonton. I'm not very well versed on like the social, political side, but I can talk about like growing up relationship wise. They're a woman's like first introduction to how a man is in her life, and oftentimes subconsciously we don't realize, but like we kind of project that onto the partners that we date. Like they really influence how we view marriage and things like that. And thankfully, I'm surrounded by good men in my life. My brother and my parents. I have two dads, one stepdad, one biological. But in Africa, I did grow up seeing like a lot of abuse and like on TV, Nollywood. It was so like normal, unfortunately, to see. So it definitely made me like more cautious, like in terms of like picking partners, because I don't want to repeat those like generational cycles. So it's very important for a father to like treat the women in their life with kindness so that that doesn't perpetuate itself in the generation.
I love that. So what I hear you say then, as much as the father is a protector, the provider, and the main head of the house, the way a father treats his daughter would influence how that daughter perceives male figures and her interaction with those male
Definitely.
figures in her adulthood.
Definitely,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Brilliant perspective.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Of
adding that
course.
perspective to our conversation.
My name is Nora.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria.
Okay.
Nora is the CEO of Nivea Travel and Tours.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the travel industry for 10 years. Yeah. Actually, Nora is new in Canada.
Oh, well, welcome to Canada.
Thank you.
And now I know who to go to when I want to travel.
So my perspective is this, just like I'm sure majority of the people will say, fathers are the roots, okay? And my belief about fatherhood is that every man, irrespective of having to, have a seed in a woman or give birth to a child, your presence, okay, in the life of that child or a family is 100% essential. So my perspective is this: like you need to be maybe bodily not present, but at least be present. Whether spiritual, you're called the gatekeeper, so you can stand
For a
at
reason.
it exactly for a reason. You have to be there spiritually, physically, otherwise, not just financially, not just providing money for the family, really, but without the money, there's a presence. Okay, there's aura that a man carries. Every child needs.
It's irreplaceable.
Exactly. So I think they need to be there. Really. It's not the work of a woman. Really, it's not just one person's work to do. So,
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nara. So the father has to be present. You hear that? Your aura is irreplaceable. So do not mistake that for anything else. Thank
So
you.
without your mother, you would never know who your father is. My mother introduced me to my father, and then she asked me to honor him. And he said, by honoring my father, I'm honoring God. So if you don't have a relationship with your father, from this day forward, feel the spirit and the love of fatherhood and reach out to him. And please, I do not need you to define who your father is. Your father will be a drunkard, smoker, womanizer, whatever. You didn't choose him. And he didn't choose you. God put the two of you together. So it's not a matter of choice. Oh, my father died. No, don't have to complain. All God is asking you to honor him, and the rest will be from God. So whatever your father is, if you're a young woman, especially a young black boy, reach out to him wherever he may be, an uncle, somebody in your life, to speak to you, not from the books, but from the heart. So I call you here as a grandfather to let you know that the journey is quite long, but it begins with knowing who you are. And you are different. The continent rests on your shoulders. So wherever you go, you are special. And that specialness must come through everything you do. Your faith is not something you will sing about. Your faith is something you live by. So I don't have to identify myself to you who I am. By virtue of the way I deal with you, you know I'm a brother. That is what we term the term Ubuntu. I am who I am because of who you are. So today, here in this historic building, I want you to leave here with a message that I'm going to connect with my family.